Well, so as you guys can see, hopefully I can get this thing installed today. Here's some of the stuff I'm going to be using. Got the bolts. Got the mower deck. Now, some of you might make a comment or two that this mower deck does not appear to be in the best shape, at least as far as the paint goes. Because, as you guys can see, it's kind of worn off a little bit. The reason why I'm using this deck is because it's very heavy duty. This is not like, you know, these newer mower decks, like this one or this one, where it's just stamped metal. I mean, this probably is stamped metal, but it's definitely a lot better built. So it's a perfect candidate for it. I was keeping this deck because all the running gear is still good. I didn't pull the transmission out of it. It all still works. Speaking of which, I need to figure out where that belt is. Now I've got the motor off. Got the deck on its side. Not a big deal, but I do have the belt on here. It is the proper one. At least it looks like it from what I can remember. Now, there is one threaded hole here, and it's this one right down here. It's going to be the one right off next to your air filter assembly. And as you can see, it threads in. This is your guide hole. What you do is you get your motor, stick it onto your deck, and then you're going to have to fish up this little bolt through here. Now, obviously, it's a lot easier to do this when you have somebody else giving you a hand. I don't right now. Okay, so I've got the proper sized socket. It's a 12 millimeter. I'm going to go ahead and grab the motor here. Just kind of line it up. That's kind of the tricky part. And I got it threaded in. So now I'm just going to grab my socket here. So now we have the motor on. Now we just got to flip over the whole thing and see what we have on the other side as far as the holes go, which ones line up and which ones don't. Now, as I was saying, these are self-tapping bolts. I already kind of got them both started. And as you guys can see, I just slipped the belt on just to see what's going to happen. Now, from what I was reading on Harbor Freight's website from some of the people that had installed one of these before, is they use this adapter. Now, on this particular deck, it looks like it's a little long. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to use it. But the problem is, with this one, the keyway is slightly smaller than this. So, I don't know. It's kind of fun installing one of these motors just because of that. Now, I haven't attached the self-propel yet just because I kind of run into a problem. I need a bigger belt. Now, I'm using the old adapter from the old motor. That goes on there just fine. The keyway fits. There's not any play. But for some odd reason, Briggs in their infinite wisdom decided I can't use this pulley because this keyway is slightly smaller. Well, that's ridiculous. Now, this other one that I've got, I can use this one if I had a bigger belt, but I just want to see and hear this mower run for now, and I don't really want to go out and chasing different lengths of belts to see which one works better. So what I'm going to do is, just for now, put the old bracket on, as you guys can see, put the old blade on, and just see how this thing runs. That's really kind of what I want to figure out for now. So now I've got the long bolt here. Got my thick washer to keep everything in place. Let's go ahead and crank her down. So there you have it. The blade's now installed. Let's go ahead and flip the mower over. Put some gas in her and see what happens. I've got to fill it up with oil too. Now, according to our manual, 10W30 is recommended for general use. So I've got some 10W30 there. I don't know how much was pre-oiled. It did seem like there was a little bit of oil in this thing from the factory. That'll be it for now. It's good enough. It's almost all the way up. About 3/4 of the way. That's good enough for me. Let's go ahead and give her some gas. It's also worth noting that the throttle control should be wired about halfway. I'll go ahead and do that before I start it. Alright, so this is going to be the test fire of this thing. Let's go ahead and give it a few primes. Quick walk around. Now, I didn't wire it to it. I actually have a throttle control that was laying around. And I'm just going to run it halfway. Blade brake's engaged. No self-propel hooked up. Oh, stupid me. Forgot to hook the spark plug up. So let's go ahead and give it a crank. Thing runs pretty damn good. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to keep this motor on this deck. Looks like we got some residual crap burning off. What will be the deciding factor is if I can either find a belt that's long enough, or find some way to run it and how it is. But being that this is a really heavy deck, it's kind of a problem. It's just it's really heavy, and without that self-propel, you kind of need it for something of that size. So I didn't get any of it on video, but I am very impressed with this little motor, boys. This thing runs so smooth. I went and took it around and got some of the grass, at least the live stuff, and it does a pretty damn good job. Of course, I wish there was more grass to cut with it, but I might have to wait a couple more days so that I could test it out on the lawn when it starts growing in a little bit more. But just a very smooth running engine. You wouldn't expect anything of really much quality from Harbor Freight, but this engine's good in my book, at least for now with the initial impressions. I'd like to keep this thing around and do kind of a long-term test with it. We'll have to see what happens, but my battery's about to die again, so if this is the end of the video, that's the end of it. You guys all stay classy.